Friday in Tryon, North Carolina. Another fantastic day, beautiful, cool. We just have had a wonderful, wonderful day today. The Bible is so clear about things and so accurate about things. It's hard to imagine why people can't believe it. For example, in Ezekiel chapter 15, 16, and 17, there's three parables, if you will. The fruitless vine, the adulterous wife, and two eagles. They all represent the nation of Israel in their fruitlessness, in their deviating from their first love, God, and finding false alliances. And every time that they fall away from God, there's judgment. Israel pays a price for that. Why is it that we don't think that there's going to be a price to be paid for falling away from Him? Nobody wants to hear about God's judgment. They only want to hear about His love and His kindness and His forgiveness and His mercy. Those things are all true. But there's also a judgment side of God. And we need to hear about that as well. For just as in 3 chapters in Ezekiel, judgment was called out on a nation for its fruitlessness, for its infidelity, and for its false alliances. And then we come to the covenants that we've been studying. We come to the Davidic, David's covenant, an interesting covenant. Remember 3 primeval covenants, Adamic, Edomic, and Noahic. Then the 4 patriarchal covenants, Abraham, Moses, Palestinian, and today Davidic, David's covenant. You'll find it in 2 Samuel chapter 7, verse 12. Here's what he promises David. He said, I will establish a kingdom. Now David wanted to build God a tabernacle, a permanent dwelling place. God's Ark of the Covenant had been carried around tents and temporary linen partitions, and David wanted to build a permanent place for him. And God said, no, it's not for you to do. There's too much blood on your hands. I'm going to allow somebody that's a descendant of yours to build it. And that's exactly what he did. He allowed Solomon to build a beautiful temple. So we know that that prophecy was fulfilled, and we can see the end result of that. But he also made that promise to David that he would have a kingdom that would have no end. A kingdom that would have no end. Now, there were a lot of kings that came and went in Israel. And then when the nation of Israel was divided into Israel and Judah, a number of kings in both of those 2 kingdoms. But here's David being promised a permanent, a forever kingdom. How long did it take? Well, it's really quite interesting because you see in Matthew chapter 1, verse 17, it tells us how long it took. It took 2 14-year periods, or 28 years. Now, if you went back to Abraham and the promise for him to become a great nation, it's 42 generations or 42 periods of time. How do we know that's true? Well, look at the story where Mary is visited by Gabriel. In Luke chapter 1, verse 32, you're going to have a special son, and he will sit on the throne of David forever. Incredible, isn't it? Prophecies that tell us that God would judge every time we became fruitless, every time we became unfaithful, and every time that we became lined up with wrong alliances, and every time God brought judgment. Then he makes a promise to David, a short-term promise. His son Solomon would build the temple, and a long term, both of which were fulfilled before our lifetime. Brings incredible credibility to the Bible. Fulfillments which David could not control, for he was long gone. It was 28 generations later when Jesus would sit on the throne of David. It's incredible, isn't it? It's not a fantasy. It's not a fable. It's historical and it's truth. There is a judgment. There is available forgiveness. We get to choose whether we want to sit under judgment or whether we want to sit in forgiveness. And we do that by choosing whether or not we want to believe that Jesus died for our sins. That's your thought for the day. God bless you and have a great day.